So my name's Laura and I am from Monash Peninsula, which is a university in Melbourne. So when in Byron Bay, we were walking back from the church one afternoon, me and a couple of other team members, and we came across this little stall and they were selling postcards that they'd have like cool drawings and stuff on. So we just stopped to look at those, and there was a lady and a man there, and we just started talking to them just casually, and then we slowly brought up God. And the conversation wasn't really lengthy or very extensive into what it really meant to be a Christian, but it was just a really lovely, nice, brief chat. And I didn't think too much of it, but then it was our very last day in Byron, and there was a bike parked outside the front of church. And one of the girls on team was like, "Hey, Laura, wasn't that the girl that you and some of our other friends were talking to?" And I was like, "Oh my gosh, yes." And so we went outside and we found out that she had been talking to the minister at one of the other churches in Byron. And we were so encouraged because their friend was there, and she was like, "Oh, were you the people who gave her this booklet?" Like, I read it to check it out, make sure it was legit and everything. And I guess from that, it seemed like the conversation that we had seemed really not insignificant, but didn't really seem to be that deep, but it really triggered a thought process for that lady. And it was really cool to see, how God was working in her life after the conversation that we'd had. And I guess that was really encouraging because sometimes you don't always see the best results. And, you don't get to see people, make that step to, really give their lives to Christ or, really get the ball rolling. But it was really cool to see a snippet of, how God was using her. I actually didn't have any experience sharing my faith whatsoever. I was very not keen on the idea of evangelism. I just thought it was so intimidating, and I was like, "Oh, this really just doesn't seem like my thing." And God really put that on my heart because I knew oh, I'm saved, and that's beautiful. But then it's what about everybody else? There's so many other people out there that I've placed in your life that I want to reach, and I could and I think He really showed me that He can use me to do that, and regardless of my lack of skills, that God can really use me. And I guess He really put that on my heart, and that sort of led up to me going on Summer Project because I hadn't been to Connections or NYC or any of the regular sort of training. So I went in very unexperienced, but it was actually on my first day I went out and had a 3-hour conversation with this random guy. And God really just, I guess, answered my prayer of, I went there for Him. Because, this was His work. This had nothing really to do with me. This is sharing His love, His message. And I guess that sort of really prompted me to, take the step of faith and go, and never looked back. Don't put limitations on God. He can use you in ways that you've never even imagined. That it doesn't matter, what your background is or how long you've been a Christian or how much you know. For my knowledge of the Bible isn't really that extensive. But if you love God and you have a relationship with Him, you've got so much to share. We've been given a really precious gift, and I think we all have a responsibility to share that with other people.